Although it was just a pre-season game, Manchester United's 4-0 win over bitter rivals Liverpool shows that the Red Devils have made some sort of progress under new manager Erik Ten Hag. Ahead of the game in Bangkok, the club broadcasted their training session where it was clear what the Dutch tactician wanted from his players. Of course, this is a team that is far from the finished product, but the way that they approached the game against Jurgen Klopp's side showed that there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Meanwhile, Cristiano Ronaldo has received an astonishing offer from an unnamed club in Saudi Arabia. We call it an astonishing offer because it would make him the best paid player in the game. While they can't seem to give Frenkie de Jong the money he's due, Barcelona have stumped up the cash to convince Ousmane Dembele to sign with them, and we have all the juicy details about this operation. Before we get started, we want to share the sponsor of today's video. The OneFootball app is the ultimate football platform and is a must-have for every football fan, so that you can follow all of your favourite leagues, teams and players all the time right from your phone. You can be sure to turn on notifications for specific players to be instantly alerted when they score a goal or when they're involved in other breaking news. It is the best and easiest way to stay up to date with everything football. Click the link in the description down below to download the app right now. You won't regret it. It's done. Ousmane Dembele will stay in Barcelona. After a saga that lasted several months on which we have revealed a lot of information, an agreement has finally been reached between the two parties, while the player has been free of any contract since the end of June. The winger, who started out at Stade Rennais, will be a Blaugrana for 2 more seasons, since his new lease runs until June 2024. But above all, many rumours not always verified and often interested on the underside of the contract have been published on the other side of the Pyrenees, in particular concerning the salary of the French international. According to our information, the player, who until June 30th received €12 million gross and €8 million in the form of bonuses, managed to obtain a salary increase. His new salary will be higher than the emoluments he received until the end of the 2021-22 season, contrary to what was said in Catalonia. According to French media, the player will make around €11 million net. The 40% pay cut announced by the Catalan media is simply fake news, and it could be mainly a club communication strategy. Note that it was especially Xavi who pushed until the last moment to complete the negotiations with the player and his entourage. He sees the France international as an important asset, believes he can still get a lot out of him, and is convinced that his continuity would be positive for the team. Indeed, the former Borussia Dortmund man had since January very concrete interests and offers from the biggest European clubs, including Juventus, PSG, Bayern, Tottenham and Manchester United, but Dembele has chosen to stay. We're also able to tell you that the player has a good release clause in his contract. Quite an operation for his agent Sissoko therefore, but also for the player, who will therefore have a certain freedom of movement in the event of a desire to leave in the near future. But before thinking about all that, place in the pre-season and hopefully a successful first full season under Xavi, sky is still the limit for the winger, who is set to represent France at Qatar 2022 later this year. What does the future hold for Cristiano Ronaldo? One thing seems certain as we write these lines: it will not be at Old Trafford. Erik Ten Hag may bend his chest in a press conference, but the Portuguese's decision is made, and his leaders also seem to have accepted it. The Portuguese star wants to pack his bags to join a club competing in the Champions League, while he also doubts his leader's ability to build a competitive team for the future. Only, for the moment, it has been difficult for the Portugal international to find a new base of operations. He notably offered himself, via his agent Jorge Mendes, to PSG, but the Parisian response was negative. Just like the other European giants who do not rush for the moment on their phone to contact the Portuguese super agent about his client, with Chelsea as the only really interested big team. And now, according to various media outlets, such as TVI or AS, an unexpected offer has arrived on his desk. An unnamed club in Saudi Arabia is ready to put €300 million on the table to enlist the former Real Madrid star. The media outlets have also revealed the distribution of this crazy amount. €30 million would thus be earmarked for the transfer of the player and would go into the pockets of Manchester United, while €20 million would be used as commission for intermediaries and Mendes. €250 million would therefore be devoted to the player's salary for 2 seasons, a sum that would make him by far the highest paid player in history. But according to AS, the Portuguese wants to stay in the top flight and has no real intention of accepting this offer. He is still waiting for a proposal from a major European club. So, the arrival of the former Ajax man has definitely given United fans a glimmer of hope. Gone are the days when the Red Devils would play a sterile and boring brand of football. In the game against Liverpool, it was clear that players have started responding to their new manager's methods. There was a lot more progressive passing throughout the 90 minutes, and players who were struggling last season suddenly looked like they were on top of things. Take for instance Anthony Martial. The Frenchman was an outcast last season. The goal he scored against the Reds was another reminder of the quality he has at his disposal. Jadon Sancho had a testing introduction to the Premier League last season, but the young winger was in his element as well, creating chances and showing himself to be every bit of the player who starred in Germany for Borussia Dortmund. And then there was Marcus Rashford, who actually played with the sort of confidence that had left him last season. The English winger is no longer a young player. It is time for him to realise his full potential, and perhaps working under Ten Hag is going to be a massive boost. Speaking of younger players, we also saw a lot of young players play the second half. Pakistani-Iraqi midfielder Zidane Iqbal played 45 minutes, and throughout that game he showed just why he is so highly regarded. That moment when he made a mockery of Fabinho was just the sort of talent he possesses. Similarly, Charlie Savage slotted in nicely alongside his fellow academy graduate. Of course, this was just a friendly and nothing more, but the manner in which United approached the game against a good Liverpool side shows that Ten Hag's principles of playing a more expressive brand of football while not compromising defensive stability are going to be crucial for the Red Devils. They haven't had the best transfer window so far, but things might change on that front as well. It's clear that Ten Hag wants his players to be more proactive on and off the ball. The former Ajax manager likes to see his players understand their roles, and in the game in Bangkok, it was clear that players have started responding to their manager, something we haven't seen in the last 2 years. Next season is likely to be another competitive one. It is clear that Manchester United are not there yet, and no one expects them to conquer the league anyway. However, as long as there are visible signs of progress, we expect the fans to be happy with good performances, and perhaps instances where they are punching above their weight. As long as that happens, there is hope that the residents of Old Trafford will eventually turn a corner under a manager who appears to be unlike anyone we've seen at the club in recent seasons.